a passionate instigator and dynamic problem solver. Dr. Kevin Ross Emery, the host of the Dr. Kevin Radio Show, will be taking you outside the box, behind the curtain, and identifying the load of BS we are fed every day. And now, Dr. Kevin.
Hello, and welcome to the Dr. Kevin Show, where we challenge everything and everyone here on OMTimes Radio, where we're changing the world one ohm at a time. So, today, I want to welcome any new listeners that we have. And for those of you who are returning or new, I do want to remind you, if you come to facebook.com/mydrkevin, MYDRKEVIN, you will see at the very top of my social media, of my fan page, that we have tonight's show. We have a place where you can participate in tonight's show. You can leave a comment, and I will share that comment with my listeners, or I will ask that question to my guest. Now, if you are listening to this as a repeat, because this show will repeat 6 more times after today until my next live show, you can still go to mydrkevin.com, mydrkevin on Facebook. Make sure you like the page, and then you can still leave a comment. What happens is I will see the comment. If I can answer it, I will. If I need to get my guest to answer it, I hunt them down, I pick them up by the ankles, I shake them upside down, and I shake the answer out of them, but you will get an answer. Sometimes they even willingly agree. So whether you're listening to this live tonight, Thursday, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, or whether you're listening to this as a replay, come to My Dr. Kevin on Facebook, facebook.com/MyDrKevin, and let us know what you think. This is your opportunity. Remember, you can't change the world by sitting down and just keeping your mouth shut. Stand up, speak out, take an action, make a difference. Here's an opportunity for you to ask a question that might make your world go smoother, or somebody you love. It might give you an opportunity to share or express an opinion that might touch somebody else's world. We just never know. So show up and speak out. And here's your opportunity right here on the Dr. Kevin Show. So as we all know, I always start with my hot topic. For those of you who are joining us for the first time, my hot topic is that which gets me either hot under the collar or makes me feel all warm and fuzzy. Well, unfortunately, I feel the burn on the back of my neck. Today's hot topic, well, you know what? I was really struggling with today's hot topic because I've talked about one of them before, but it continues to ratchet up. So it's my show and I can do what I want. So I'm going to throw out 2 hot topics. And I'm going to intertwine them. And then I'm going to introduce you to today's guest, and I'm going to dump it all on her lap like a big old mud pie mess and make her sort through it. Because that's the kind of guy I am. So my today's hot topic, on one hand, is the fact that since last week, the Senate Republicans have now vowed that they refuse to interview anybody that President Obama nominates for the Supreme Court justice. Well, first of all, that means they're not doing their job. Their job that they were hired for was in times of the need of a Supreme Court justice in a timely manner, not a year from now, in a timely manner, will make sure that somebody gets appointed to the highest court on the land. And so that's their job. They're refusing to do their job. I think when somebody refuses to do their job, they should be fired. And in this case, because we're talking elections, you can say, well, we just won't elect them again. But that's still postponing it. So I think they should be fired immediately. Or they should have the highest court of the land come down and basically disband them. I think the Supreme Court should come down to the Senate and the Senate Judiciary Committee that is refusing to vote for it and say, you have a choice. You vote for it, or we are disbanding this committee, and you're going to have to select a committee that will follow the law. Because the Judiciary Committee, they should not be above the law. They should be the role model for the law. Mm-hmm. And what they're doing is they're role modeling lawlessness and a whole bunch of party politics. And one of the reasons why this country is in the state that it's in today, because it doesn't have anything to do with what's good for the American people. I'm going to slide that into my other hot topic, which is about the fact that we've improved slightly, just a little bit, in our standings of our education on the world stage. But we are still, we are coming in as 14th. And we still spend more money per student than any other country in the world. We spend the most amount of money, and we're 14th. We have the highest rate of diagnosed mental and emotional illnesses. Leading that is ADD and ADHD, and we all know that that's a topic for me. And that with that, we are failing our children. We went from the No Child Left Behind Act to No Child Will Succeed Act on our educational stage. And it's more about gerrymandering, getting lobbyist dollars slipped into you, and hanging out in the back room, smoking cigars, and figuring out what the way you can spoke the other party so that you can be in charge, so that you're in charge of screwing over the American people this time around, instead of the other party being in charge of screwing over the American people. So there's my hot topic for the day. I decided to meld those two hot topics because I think that they're somewhat related. I think that the failure of our government to function as a government is at fault with us, why we are 14th in education and spend more money per student than any other country, and why we would put up with such childish, hypocritical nonsense when some of these people that are saying, oh no, you shouldn't do this in a lame duck presidency, when it was a Republican president, were all over why they absolutely needed to do it, and it happened. So they are being obstructionists. Today's guest is Janelle Garner. Janelle is the founder of Toad's Wild and Wacky Wonder Emporium. For the past 15 years, or plus 15 years plus. We don't know plus what, because in her bio she didn't say plus 1, plus 2, plus 0.5. She just said plus. For the past 15 years plus, her team has been in research and development to build a new American super school. Oh my, we're doing so well. Why would she want to do that? We have built great working partnerships with technology companies all over the world who are excited to have their technologies used in our educational and entertainment platforms. I have known Janelle for a decade now. I have hung out at various evolutionary processes of Totes Wild and Wacky Wonder Emporium. And I believe that they have some cutting-edge approaches to how we could, for less money than we're spending, get a whole lot more out of our educational process and actually give our kids a good education. So with that said, you can find out more about her at, it's looking like it's www.blissfulstudios.net. And then I got a /toads-wild-and-wacky-wonder-emporium.com. You're going to give me a better email than this before we get off, because that's not working. Janelle, are you there?
I am. How are you doing?
Oh, I'm all fired up and ready for somebody to stick a marshmallow on me.
Yeah, well, when it comes to these topics, they're pretty hot topics, believe me, especially for me.
So we've got about 4 minutes before we get to our first break.
Okay.
So what are our solutions? What do you think? What's this nonsense? How can we change this? Or do you think that this is okay?
No, education isn't okay. It's the number one problem in the country today. And politics, don't get me started on politics, but politics needs to be totally taken out of education altogether. I believe that education should be privatized, and that it is up to the American people how to build their schools. And I believe that there is so many issues. Our system today is totally broken. There's no fix for our education system today. Yet politicians keep pumping money into a broken system. We got a problem.
And they're pumping money in, but I stand here and I challenge anybody to disagree with me. They're also making money off the broken education system.
Oh, they're making lots of money off the broken education system, and they want it broken. They don't want a good education system. That's why we need to privatize education. It's time for me, as far as we're concerned, it's time for Americans to step up and say, it's time for us to build our schools the way we want them done and done the right way, so that our kids are educated better, that our communities are thriving. Do you know there's so many simple things that you can do to create this type of environment?
Well, and the thing is, there are lots of stuff that you can do. And the thing is, a lot of them would offend some of the biggest people, like teachers' unions, like the, educational system lobbyists, like the pharmaceutical companies. Mm-hmm. There are a lot of people that are using our kids as laboratory rats and cash cows, and some of that cash is going right back into those politicians' pockets, and they're ignoring large chunks of evidence that we know what to do. We're just not doing it because it doesn't make the right people money.
Exactly. But there is a way that we can do things to make things better for our communities and our people. And that's what we've been in research and development for the last 15 years plus. And when I mean plus, I mean more than 15 years.
Oh, well, 150 years is more than 15 years. Come on. You can do better than that. This is cool. We have to have something on the other side of the plus sign or it can't equal anything, Janelle. Come on, pop it up.
You're funny. Oh, hey, this is great.
We are going on our first break. We're going to be back with Janelle Gardner and Totes Wild and Wacky Wonder Emporium.
Bringing a more conscious lifestyle to your world. OMTimes Radio. IOM FM.
The truth is, you can't change the world if you're broke. I know. I tried. Isn't it time you turned your life's calling into a profitable, freedom-based business? I'm Michelle Barr. Join me every Thursday at 2 p.m. Eastern for Sacred Success.
Have you ever wondered how to change your love paradigm? The secret key is finding a love partnership, not just a regular connection. How do you find these? Through conscious relationships. Ascending Hearts Dating is a dating site for people like you that believes in second chances and a different type of spiritual connection. Try Ascending Hearts for free today at ascendinghearts.com and change your love paradigm. Ascending Hearts, the premier dating community for the spiritually awake. Being a radio host on IOM FM allows you to build your show on a rich platform with the power of the internet to fulfill your outreach goals and connect with a very specialized and global online audience, unlimited by time and distance. OMTimes Radio will provide you with web relevance, a recognizable conscious brand, and with the standard of excellence that has accompanied every single OMTimes endeavor. Host your show with OMTimes Radio Network.
Dr. Kevin here, and I want to invite you every Thursday, 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern, to join me on the Dr. Kevin Show, where we have a diversity of guests who help you step outside the box, behind the curtain, and see what a load of crap is going on in the world today, so you have more information with which to make better decisions. We'll see you there. Namaste.
Free your mind. Expand your soul. OMTimes Radio. IOM FM.
Hello. And welcome back to the Dr. Kevin Show, where we challenge everything and everyone here on OMTimes, where we change the world one Om at a time. Today's guest is Janelle Garner. Janelle,
Yes.
For the past 15 plus years. She won't tell us how many. I think it's an age thing. I don't think she wants anybody to know how old she is.
Yeah.
I've been researching and developing a way to build a new American super school. She is the founder of Totes Wild and Wacky Wonder Emporium, the Dream Voyager 1, and the Community Incubator. She is passionate about education. She's passionate that our kids should be getting what we're not giving them. And she can, frankly, be a pain in the ass, as she should be, to those people that are just interested in how much money can be passed along, whether it's to the school nurse, the administrators, the educators, all the way up to Congress, who's all getting money somewhere shaken down through special programs and this and this and that, which oftentimes don't do squat. Have I got that right?
Oh yeah.
So what's a good email that isn't going to make somebody get writer's cramp if they want to write it down to come see you? Do we have one?
You mean a website or an email?
Website.
Okay, website. Just they can go to www.blissfulstudios.net and that period, and that'll pull everything up.
Okay,
that's our website.
Sure. Okay, so it's blissfulstudios.net, and there's only one L in blissful.
Right.
I would put two L's there. I don't know why. Maybe because I can't spell. I am putting that on the comment page. Remember, if you would like to be part of our conversation, you may come to facebook.com/mydrkevin. And when you get there, first of all, make sure you like the page. And then you can see all this information about Janelle and the work she's doing. And you can ask your questions of Janelle, of me, or you can just weigh in with your own comment. Remember, you don't make a change in the world without standing up, speaking out, and taking an action. And we invite you here on the Dr. Kevin Show to do that. So, Janelle, here's our first segment where you get to take control. Kinda, sorta.
Okay.
This is Outside the Box. This is my Outside the Box segment. Where do you want to stretch our listeners' comfort zones?
Well,
we want to introduce them to something that's going to help them be better informed.
People really don't understand the issue of education. First of all, we have over 100 million people currently in the workforce who cannot do their jobs effectively because they're too illiterate. We have kids, every 26 seconds, a kid drops out of school in this country. It costs American business owners over $260 billion a year because of illiteracy. Those are just three stats that are staggering. And
on our next, right now or on our next break, can you hop over to My Dr. Kevin and list those stats in the comment section so people can see them for me?
You bet.
Absolutely. Go ahead. Keep going.
Right. And I could go on and on and on about stats, but the truth of the fact is we've had a broken education system for many years. It hasn't been effective. We use a thing what's called rote learning. Rote learning is memorization. And it's not effective. It never has been effective. The best way to educate is to use the whole brain. And the sad part is that teachers actually in our education system today, public education system, have been taught these type of things, but they're not allowed to use them. I actually sat down with a teacher one day and she told me that she had gone to some seminars and they had taught about this, but they needed to know about it, but they weren't allowed to use it in their classroom. Well, how sad is that?
Well, that's really sad, and that's part of that stranglehold is we have the right knowledge. Several years ago, I don't know if you're aware of this or not, but I did an in-service. I did a bunch of in-services when my first books came out on ADD and ADHD.
Mm-hmm.
And I went to the school. They literally, Janelle, they weren't sure that any of the in-services for continuing ed credits for teachers were going to go. They were offering 12 different programs. And I had one program and I had one for middle school and one for high school, but it was still the same program. I mean, it was just two parts of the day.
Mm-hmm.
And they said, and I was told, our teachers are hard bitten. They don't, they barely sign up. They don't, they only get continuing credits when we force them. I mean, the administrator just had nothing nice to say about the teachers, to be honest, to me, and said, if we don't get anybody to sign up for your stuff, it won't happen. Out of the 12, 11 did not happen, and 1 did, mine. Mine was standing room only because these teachers were begging for tools and techniques on how to work with these kids in the classroom without having to pull the prescription pad out.
Exactly.
So
exactly.
We gave them all of this stuff. They loved it. They gave me great reviews. The administration was gobsmacked about how well the teachers were excited and interesting. And there was an offer for me to go in and actually go into the classroom and show them how to apply some of it. And they decided not to do it because the administration were against one single thing that I had recommended, which was that these kids need to be hydrated, so they needed to have bottles of water at the desk.
Yeah.
So what they did is...
And they wouldn't let you do that? Oh,
well, they wouldn't let me come in and do anything because that was against the superintendent of school, who the year before decided that there could be no drinks at the desk because whatever reason. And so, he'd look like he had an egg on his face if I went in and said that you had to do this. And so, of course, these teachers are hard bitten because sometimes they get bit hard when they do get excited about something. There's no support. Something is, everybody's like, oh, I want you to come in. I want you to show me how to work with this kid. I want you to show me how to work with. Nope. Yeah. Not going to do it.
We have so many creative and good teachers out there, but they are not allowed to go to the ability that they have to teach. We need to step back and allow them to be able to do that in a classroom. But they need to, and do it in an effective manner. And unfortunately, the education system we have in place is not effective, especially today. We have kids who are digital learners, and we are not teaching that way. And we need to start teaching our kids a whole different way. We need to start teaching adults a whole different way. It's a whole different world. And the system that we have in place is continually going to get worse and worse and worse. Education is a business. It needs to be run like a business. That's the only way it's going to become effective. And it needs to learn how to sustain itself without having to worry about government money.
Well,
and it can be done.
Well, and that's interesting because I'm gonna push back here just a little bit. You ready?
Yep.
Of course, any taxpayer, part of what they're paying for is money to go towards the educational system. And so we're all paying for this educational system, whether we have kids in school or not, whether we even have kids or ever had them. We're still paying into this education system. If we switch this, who's paying for that kid's education system? Because I'm a little leery. When you say run like a business, on one hand, it's like, yeah, run it like a business. On the other hand, looking at corporate America today, I don't know that our kids would be any better off because there seems to be this decided lack of customer service, shall we call it. So talk to me more about that.
Well, when I'm talking about running an education system like a business, you have to have a way to reproduce itself to be effective. You have to be able to duplicate everything you're doing and to create revenue sources to come in. I mean, one of the biggest problems today in education is money, big time money. And so in order to fix that, an education system needs to learn how to sustain itself so that they're not having to have the kids go out and do all these fundraisers and the teachers doing fundraisers. I was astounded. I was at Walmart about a week ago. And this lady and her daughter was in front of me, and she had all this toilet paper and paper towels and all these different things, and just a bunch of them. And I just said, what is that for? It just kind of looked weird. And she goes, well, I have to buy these for her to go to school. She has to have these supplies.
Yeah, it's completely unacceptable. I mean, there are several things unacceptable. There are lots of companies that are making lots of money off the education system, and are making their stockholders very happy. They should be contributing to the improvement of the education system, and not with some big flashy, oh, we're going to do this one big thing, and aren't we wonderful? But the day-to-day stuff, hey, you got to have toilet paper.
Mm-hmm. And when we were going to school, we did. We didn't, our parents didn't have to provide that. Today they do.
That's crazy. With as much crap as those poor kids get fed that we're calling education, they should be giving them lots of toilet paper.
Yeah, well, the testing, it's just ridiculous. The fact is that we need to start teaching and using a system that is a visual system that teaches kids not only the education part of it, but the interactive part of it, the every day-to-day of living. How to interact, our kids are so digital that their social skills are terrible.
Oh.
They're just terrible.
But is that not as much the reliance on technology to raise your child and to babysit them? I mean, we Janelle, you and I came from a generation where the TV was our babysitter.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And that was
not till I was 15. We never even got a TV set till I was 15. Oh, that really tells how old I was. Okay, we shouldn't go there. But
there we go. 15 plus a TV set. There we go. Now we know what's on the other side of that. That's the break for formula. 15 plus TV.
There you go.
We're going on our second break. We'll be right back with Janelle Gardner and wacky toads, wide and wild and wacky.
Conscious media for conscious minds. OMTimes.
Have you bought into the idea that you have to work hard for your money, that business is hard? I will share some dynamic access consciousness tools to get you out of your own way so you can create a business that actually succeeds. Join me, Simone Millises, on The Joy of Business at 4 p.m. Mondays Eastern.
Simone Millises would like you to know that business can be fun, which is why she wrote the book, Joy of Business. What if you could have the joy of business rather than the stress and struggle? Most of the time, the only thing stopping you from a thriving business is you. In the Joy of Business book, Simone gives you access consciousness tools and pragmatic ways to get out of your own way and to create the business, life, and living you know is possible and beyond what this reality says is achievable. Business is joy. It's creation. It's generative. It can be the adventure of living. You can purchase your copy of the book through Amazon or Joy of Business website, www.accessjoyofbusiness.com. Host your show on IOM-FM, the radio network of OMTimes Media, one of the more recognized brand names in the conscious community, and is backed by the extensive marketing reach of OMTimes. Hosting a show on IOM-FM immediately connects you with our extensive dedicated community.
Evolution is where sexuality and spirituality meets. Join me, clinical sexologist Martha Tara Lee, on Eros Evolution on Thursdays, 4 p.m. Eastern on OMTimes Radio.
The cutting edge of conscious radio, OMTimes Radio, IOM-FM.
Hello, and welcome back to the Dr. Kevin Show, where we challenge everything and everyone here on OMTimes Radio, where we're changing the world one ohm at a time. Today, we have Totes Wild and Wacky Wonder Emporium as our guest, and its mouthpiece goes by the name Janelle. Hey, mouthpiece, you still there?
I am.
I sent you a little love note on break. Hopefully you got it.
Oh, I will.
Okay, so Janelle has for 15 plus TV years been creating a American super school. It has an S on the front, and it has a blue cape that flies instead of an American flag. That's why American flake. Oh, now there was a slip. The American flag, which is why it's a super school. Janelle, you can find out more about her and Toad's Wild and Wacky Wonder Emporium and this American Super School at Blissful Studios. That's Blissful with only one L. Studios.net. I'm assuming there's somebody else out there that can't spell like me and would put two L's on that, full with bliss. Because I'm full of bliss, and that's FULL, BLISS, but Blissful is BILSSFUL. The other L must have got lost along the way.
It did.
It did. It's a shame. So this is our behind the curtain segment. So here's the quiz that all my guests have to take, unless they've already been on. So from what movie did this come? Ignore the man behind the curtain.
Oh my gosh, I know what that is. Oh, The Wizard of Oz.
Ding, 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 ding. Not the actual word-for-word line. I actually went and looked it up one day. It's a little different, but I'm going to stick with that because it's what comes out rolling. But that's what's communicated. This is behind the curtain. Because there's a lot of stuff that the people in power want us to ignore. They want to project other, when you looked behind the curtain, you found that you had a shyster from Kansas who's got blown off course. Not the powerful Oz. So what truth? Now remember, you can do it on anything in the world. What truth do you want to share with our people that will make them have a better life because you're sharing that truth?
Well, the truth that I can see is the fact that we need to start learning how to be people again and be kind to each other. Start helping each other in the communities and start learning how to rebuild. It's up to America today and the Americans in it to start doing that. We can't depend on others like politicians and anybody else to do what we need done. Because if you want to have it done the right way, you help each other out and you help each other grow. And the truth of it is, if you do that, your community will thrive.
Well, that is an interesting truth. And I'm going to, because we still see on a regular basis that if there is a crisis, people will come out of the woodworks to help. And, when there's a crisis, when there's enough for them to get enough energy to break through the inertia and the Velcro that's on their backsides that keeps them, attached to the couch. But people will rally. People will rally for the lost cat, for the cat up the tree, for the lost child, for the victim of this or that. Lots of people rallied for emergencies. But I want to make it clear that what I heard is, this isn't about rallying for emergencies. This is about acts of kindness on a daily basis.
Exactly. Years ago, people used to just do that for each other. Somewhere everybody got lost. Things sped up and things started going crazy and people got lost, Well,
I'm getting ready to expose you to another Dr. Kevin pop quiz. I'm no pressure here. But I don't think in over 10 years of having a radio show, when I ask this pop question, anybody has been able to get it right. So I'm looking forward for you being the first one. What end of the 19th century prophet predicted this, that with the creation of the automated system, the conveyor belt, that stuff like this, that it would cause exactly what you're talking about, the fall apart of the American family, and the fall apart of the community. That us going into breaking things into little sections where you only work on one little part and somebody else works on another little part, that it was going to lead to this. What
in what century?
It was late 19th century, right after the industrial age got started. And I'm going to give you another clue. This prophet predicted all of this, that this is what was going to happen, and we've got it in spades today.
Oh man, I don't know who that is. I don't know. You stumped me on that one.
Okay.
I can't think who that is.
Karl Marx.
Oh, he sure did.
Yeah. Everybody, he said in the Communist Manifesto that the industrial age was going to bring the beginning of the end of family and community, because everybody would become so segmented into pieces that nobody would be concerned or work on the whole.
That's right.
So let me ask you this question. Because one of my hot under the collar topics, and I almost chose this one too, was that we focus on math and science like it's the be all and end all, and ignore the importance of all the other things kids should be learning. And that's been a hot topic for me for a long time. Why are all the tests around math and science? Why have they actually eliminated in some of the testing that kids even get tested on English anymore? Like it's unimportant. The ability to communicate is unimportant, excuse me, because that's what English is. But should we, Miss Super American Education superstar, should acts of kindness be part of the curriculum in the education system?
I agree. I do believe it should. I think it should be a big part of it, because unless you know how to act around others and communicate with others, you're not going to succeed at anything. Communication is a very important key, and our kids today lack it big time. And we need to re-educate them in a way that they understand that it's okay to do nice things for everybody. In fact, it's really good, and it really builds a community strong. And it's just, all these little acts of kindness, and that's all it takes. And instead of having to wait for a bad event to happen, why are we doing it every day?
Where do you think? Because, of course, we have to be very careful, because, first of all, we can't come up with anything that would at all be considered religious, even spiritual, because there are going to be people that are going to scream about it, and rightfully so. I'm not saying that they don't have a right to scream, because I scream all the time about people trying to force their version of God on me. So what kind of program could we put, let's say, in an elementary level that would teach? Now, we have two different things on the table. We have communication and we have kindness. They're not the same thing. So let's say kindness. How do we support and how do we bring out young children's natural tendency to actually want to be kind?
You create a curriculum around it. You create I've created this awesome curriculum that is so simple that you actually put it into the system that the kids are learning every day. And as they learn to be like that and act like that, they actually automatically do acts of kindness without even thinking about it. It becomes what's called a natural action.
So is it like a form, like it used to be that they didn't overtly, but they subvert, I can't think of the word I'm looking for. It's sliding across my tongue, but I can't get it out. But subtly, we're going to use the word subtly taught manners as part of everything, taught respect as part of everything. So you think we can teach kindness as part of everything instead of having it as a standalone thing of its own?
Of course we can. You can teach anything. Anything you can teach. Doesn't matter what it is. You can teach you can teach an old dog new tricks if you want to, go that way. But the thing is that the way that our system is today, it has done more damage than people actually realize. It has affected our communities so bad that violence is on the rise. School violence is ridiculous. I mean, parents don't ever feel safe with their kids going to school. And bullying is totally out of control. And what these kids don't realize is from the time you're in elementary school till the time, and then when you graduate, for those 12 years, when you walk out that door, that whole world changes. It is not the same world anymore. So what you did in those 12 years, nobody really cares in the adult world. It's you know, and so you need to teach that act of kindness while they're small. Teach a community how to interact with each other. People have lost the ability to interact with each other. And if we've created an education system where people actually have to learn how to do that and do it effectively, but yet do it in an environment that is so fun and exciting, you know, you're going to get great results out of it. And you're going to start changing things in communities everywhere. It'll catch on and it'll work.
Well, you know, it's very interesting. Have you ever seen South Pacific?
Uh-huh. Love that show.
You know, I'm a very big fan of, I actually teach a workshop called Everything You Need to Know About Life You Can Learn Through a Broadway Musical. And in there's a song that says, "You must be carefully taught." And it's a song that's about bigotry and racism and hate. Do you know the song I'm talking about?
Yep, I sure do. It's a good song.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a song that I've referred to. I think that, you know, part of what's such a difficult thing to navigate is that you literally do have parents out there that say and teach that it's justifiable to be disrespectful and rude, and you should be hateful to certain kinds of people. And that these kids are being carefully taught to do just that. We're going on our last break of the night. We'll be back for our final segment with Janelle Gardner and the Wacky Toads, Wacky and Wild Performance.
The future of Internet radio is here. OMTimes Radio. IOM FM.
Have you been searching for a perspective beyond the mainstream? Check it out. Join your hosts Cielito Pascual and Diana Gold Holland on Share International Radio for thought-provoking views behind the news. Sundays at 1 p.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. Eastern on OMTimes Radio. You can also find us at shareontheairradio.org. This may be the message of hope you've been waiting for.
The number one reason girls drop out of school in sub-Saharan Africa is lack of access to feminine hygiene products. The Pads for Schoolgirls Project, an outreach of Humanity Healing International, is changing this paradigm by setting up sewing programs at schools, teaching girls a vocational skill, while producing the reusable pads that help keep them attending classes. The girls pay it forward by making and giving pad kits to other girls in need. To learn more, visit humanityhealing.org. Humanity Healing is where your heart is. Host your show on IOM FM, the radio network of OMTimes Media, one of the more recognized brand names in the conscious community, and is backed by the extensive marketing reach of OMTimes. Hosting a show on IOM FM immediately connects you with our extensive dedicated community.
Come heal yourself. What is healing? Healing is nothing but connecting with your all-knowing higher self that already has solutions to all your problems and is always there to guide you. Through this show, we help you to connect with that you are and tap into that innate potential you have to transform your life and fly high. Please join me, your host Monica Goyal, every Sunday, 7 p.m. Pacific. Namaste.
Connecting you with the best of the conscious minds in the world. OMTimes Radio. IOM FM.
Hello, 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 and welcome back to the Dr. Kevin Show, where we're challenging everything and everyone here on OMTimes Radio, where we're changing the world one ohm at a time. My guest today is Janelle Garner. She is the founder of Totes Wild and Wacky Wonder Emporium. For 15 years plus TV, her and her team in research and development have built a new American super school. That includes Totes Wild and Wacky Wonder Emporium. And I've been wonderfully whacked by Totes, so I have a personal experience with him. Dream Voyager 1 and the Community Incubator. To build a successful super school, you must have individuals with different types of talents or skills. If you have talents or skills that you want to give to rebuild American school system, then this dream team is for you. So if you have some ideas about what would work better for education, if you think that it's time that we shook up the American education system, that maybe we made it be actually more successful and less profitable for all the wrong people, and give our kids the education that we have promised them, then you can contact her at blissfulstudios.net. Janelle, you still there?
I am. I'm putting on your website right now those statistics that we were talking about.
On facebook.com/MyDrKevin?
Yep.
Okay. So here is our last segment of the night. And as I have told you, and as my listeners know, this is What a Load of Crap with Dr. Kevin. This is where you get to throw out anything that you think is a load of crap, and then I'm going to kick it back around with you, and we're going to see what our listeners think. If you would like to weigh in, if you have a load of crap you'd like to share, if you have questions you'd like to ask Janelle. Janelle, if somebody asks a question on one of our replays, can I count on you to be available to answer it?
You bet.
Okay, I'm not even going to have to shake her ankles upside down and bounce her head off the floor. It's no fun. So, what load of crap do you want to change? What do you want to share with my listeners tonight?
The load of crap that the politicians are putting out. They sit and
many of those.
Oh, I know. Oh, the education stuff that they talk about and the things that they talk about. And number one, Mr. Ted Cruz, who's running for president, says he knows the Declaration and the Constitution backwards and forwards. If he read it properly, he would know that in there it states that education is free. Okay? We have the right to a free education. We don't have that in this country. And I look at these politicians and they talk about how they're going to improve an education system that they know nothing about. This is what burns me. And it just irritates me. I got a letter from the Secretary of Education of the United States of America, who was so illiterate he didn't even understand what I put in front of him. He had no clue what I was talking about. He even told me that in the letter.
Okay.
He had no clue. You know, and I'm currently working with one senator here who believes in what I'm doing. You know, but what I'm saying, what burns me is these politicians, they're out there saying, well, we do all this and they do absolutely nothing. They don't want to see it fixed. And so I'm just at a point where it's just like, America, it's time to step up and make it happen.
Well, I think that there's a lot of places that America needs to step up and make it happen. I think that America needs to stop voting the same people into office because they're lazy, because they're sheeple, because they don't want to have to think, that they just want to go along and do whatever you know is the color of their party wants them to do. I think we need to have multiple parties. I think we need to have at least 5 functioning parties that all need to be supported to represent a diverse set of opinions and people, so it's not just one beach ball getting kicked back and forth. You know, the thing is, what does Mr. and Mrs. Betty Smith do in Ogden, Utah to make a difference? Give my people something concrete. What do they need to do?
Well, they need to get involved in the new contest that we're about ready to on March 1st, we're launching a new contest called Finding Miss Literacy. And it's a really fun contest. It actually tests your literacy skills. And you're actually looking for Miss Literacy. Now, with the help of doing that, it's actually going to help us put together a system that we can bring to communities to help change things for these people, to show them how they can be more productive. And Americans can get involved because they can help be a part of that education system. If they have talents that they want to share and things that they want to help do, in this contest, it allows you to do that. It's a lot of fun. Every day you're going to see posts of Miss Literacy all over the country. You're not going to know where she's at, but you'll get hints to who she is and where she looks. There are big prizes for 3 winners who find Miss Literacy. And on the way, you learn, as you play this game, you learn about the system and how poor it really is and how easy it can be to fix it. Once Americans get together and say, we want something better for our kids, and we will do whatever we need to make that happen.
So when the show is over, are you going to go to my Facebook fan page where the radio show is posted, and are you going to put a link for people to be able to see how they can do this? Or
because they can go right onto our site. And there's a page on there that says Finding Literacy, and it tells you the 3 different things that you can do to get involved in being part of the super school. There's a lot of great things that reoccur because of it, and your help involved in it. I mean, we're looking for all sorts of people who really want to have their foot in the door and saying, hey, I helped build that. Hey, I made that. And look how well it's working with our kids. And now Americans can be proud because they're the ones that helped build their first American super school system.
So if they want to get involved with your project, that's an action that they can take. And I fully support. I know you've done some good work. I know you're doing some good work. And so I don't have any questions about that. If somebody wanted to say, okay, I'll do the Miss Literacy thing, but what else can I do? What else can I do that isn't going to be 3 to 5 years down the road when my kid might be a sophomore or a junior in high school? Because I could be wrong, but if somebody has got a 7th grader, will the super school be built in time to help them?
That has a 7th grader? Yes.
7th grader.
Yeah.
Okay. A 9th grader.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
So this super school you're predicting is going to be built in 4 years. Well,
we're actually predicting we're going to start working on it this year. We have some things in place that I cannot talk about because I'm under a non-disclosure, but it's pretty big. It's going to build the first system. That means I can now start producing systems everywhere.
Okay.
The great thing about education is it's portable.
Okay.
The system is so portable that it can be used in any education system around the world.
Okay. And that's great. And I think that that's important because, of course, I've been watching you for 15 years building and doing and stuff like this. And I think it's important that people don't think, hey, I've got my kid right now in 6th grade, 7th grade. What can I do right now to help him? I'm happy to help the kids that come behind him, but what can I do to help him now? And what happens if that person isn't in Utah, but let's say they're I've got listeners all over the world. What happens if they're, let's say, in southern Florida and that kid's in 8th grade? Will that super school be in Florida in time to help them? So what besides that could somebody do to make a difference? I'm not telling them not to do it, but what else could they do right now? right now to help their kids right now that's in the middle of a bad school year?
In any child right now in the middle of a bad school year is in trouble, period. The problem is that we don't have anything immediately right in place that they can do. However, I do have a really great product that they can use that would help them do specifics like what I'm talking about with the kindness and the interaction and the communication. We have an excellent book about that. It's called the Book of Oracles.
Okay. So,
which is excellent. But we don't have a system yet, Kevin, that I can, push right this second.
Well, and, part of it is because I really try, and you and I talked about it, and you've been really good. I try not to ever make my show a sales pitch.
Right,
so
me either.
What I wanted to hear from you, and we're almost out of time, but
okay,
something that you want to go in and put on my Facebook page, it would be great. They can check out your Oracle thing. They can check out the thing you're doing with the school. I'm fully behind that. But you've been studying this for 15 years. You have got to have a tip in your mind that has nothing to do with your product that you could be giving a parent to help make a difference. That's what I wanted.
That is them getting more involved.
Put that on my Facebook.
In their child's education. Totally.
When this music is on,